Episode 344 brought to you by Brave Bean Coffee Company. The Pirates lose the poop series. We're going to recap that, and then we're going to preview the away series versus the St. Louis Cardinals. You're listening to the Bucco Bantr podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates, and they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plates, and in case after case, run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snakes.
Welcome back to another episode of Bucco Banter. Adam, the vibes are low. The vibes are real low. Bad weekend series against the cross-state rival. We've got some bad news also trickling in with some of the roster moves. But let's just start off, man. How you feeling?
Not great. Not great at all. Reminds me of the St. Louis series.
Yeah.
Where they blow game one and then just everything that can go wrong goes wrong from there on out. Man, Friday was a bummer, dude. Just watching this team, breaking it down, being in the clubhouse, seeing the reaction to losing that game, and then just how the rest of the series unfolded. Because Saturday was predictable. We pretty much knew Sanchez was going to come in and do his thing. And he did. Complete game. And you want to set yourself up where, you're okay going 1-1 and then leaving it up to Skeens versus Wheeler for the tiebreaker. But just couldn't push a run across, man. Saturday or Sunday, just you were really heavily reliant on slug on Friday, which I remember you saying earlier today at our show at Brave Bean Coffee. That's fine. You're going to win games in different ways. But really just couldn't find a way to get guys in scoring position all weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was not an ideal time to come across the Phillies with the current state of the Pirates team right now. They're a little bit beat up. They're going through a tough stretch, and this Phillies team is hot as anyone in baseball, right? And it showed. It showed the differences between the two teams, and this Pirates team is struggling right now. That no one's really throwing well. They got a kick to the gut with Ryan O'Hearn landing on the IL with a right quad strain. He came out of the game early yesterday. Sounds like it's going to be a lengthy stay, like probably a month at minimum. So the question bears asking, what are they going to do? I know Jake Mangum was just reinstated from the 10-day IL, and that's fine, but I feel like Jake Mangum should be the fourth outfielder anyway. Is it time for Esmerlin Valdez, Adam? Because Esmerlin Valdez has been killing it. 850, I think, OPS and AAA. Had a big week down in Indy. Can you replace some of that slug with Esmerlin and get him up here to make his debut?
I don't see why not. You have some guys in AAA and Esmerlin in the password, and I think Esmerlin is probably the first to get the call. They want to see a larger sample size from the password in more consistency across the board, right? He can get hot, and then there's a lot of nothing for a long time, right? So they want to work that out with him. But Esmerlin, man, has not done much wrong in the past year and a half. And while things could be better in AAA, I think he's still proven that he could be a major league bat. Whether that works or not at this level, I don't know. Is it smart to call a guy up like that, knowing that you might just have to send him down eventually unless the bat really stays hot? I don't know. But I think right now, if you're looking for some type of spark, that could be the guy, because Marcell has continued to struggle. He had the one home run, but we've talked about that leash being long. Yeah, you also need an outfielder, right? And I don't know how many times you could trot Jared Triolo out into right field. Man, that's already brutal enough to see in a lineup, but just having to do it over and over again. And I believe Don Kelly was asked today in the press conference, how often they can really put Triolo out there. And it's just kind of like, hey, this is what we need right now. And if that's what you need right now because of the lack of depth that you have, we have a serious issue. And you need to get somebody else that can play that role. Nick York is gone now, option. So we're going to see a move before Tuesday's game in St. Louis. And if I were a betting man, I'd probably say Esmerlin has some pretty high odds to get that call. They need some type of spark, man.
we're hoping for his Merlin. It's going to be Dom Fletcher.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He was
Or
4 for 4 today, if that matters.
what about Callahan?
Could be Callahan too, man. I mean, Callahan's been playing pretty well. If you look at the average, you might not see it. I know he got off to a slow start, but he's been hitting the ball well. I mean, yeah, I think those are the three options, really. And I'm hoping for Esmerlin. I think that would be a nice spark. This is a tough stretch for this team, right? We've got the Cardinals. You're hoping to avenge them on the road here starting Tuesday. Go to Toronto. Toronto's banged up, but that's not going to be an easy series in Toronto. Never is. Then you got the Cubs when you come back. So you're really going to see. I mentioned it today on the Brave Being Live show. You're gonna this team's going to be tested. The toughness is going to be tested. But you know what? Tough times don't last. Tough teams do, and this is a big opportunity for someone to step up here.
I'm glad you mentioned the Phillies being a hot team because it was brought up in the press conference today. Somebody asked, how much of this do you attribute to internal struggles, and how much do you attribute to the Phillies just being red hot right now?
Both.
Yeah, it's both. But Donnie's response was, listen, we need to be up to the challenge no matter what. We need to put ourselves in those situations where we feel comfortable competing no matter what. And he didn't say it outright, but he pretty much hinted they're not there yet. They haven't proven really anything. Obviously, I think they've shown that they could be a very good baseball team. And I think we know that this could be a good baseball team when healthy and things are clicking. But in terms of playing competition at a high level in high leverage situations or must-win games, we really haven't seen a big enough sample size or it done enough times in the short season to say, hey, they're up for the moment right now. And you want to be able to compete against guys like Chris Sanchez. You want to be able to compete against guys like Zach Wheeler. You need to be up for the challenge right there. But it's just not working out that way right now. And they're going to go through a lot more. You got a bad bullpen right now. You have a question at high leverage positions out of the bullpen. You have one of your best run producers going to the IL. Your other backup catcher has an infected foot and he's gone. So Endy's going to get more of a sample size now. Paul Skeens just got banged up a little bit. Things could go wrong really quick. They could fall below a 500 team and people are going to freak out. It's still early, but they got to figure out something to do here, Scott, especially with the bullpen. And I think that's a good transition to Dennis Santana, unless you had anything else to bring up here.
I would just say, too, like you mentioned if it was attributed more to the Pirates' struggles or the Philadelphia being hot. Like I said, it was both. But, like, I'm going through this week, and I'm trying to find a hitter of the week was tough. Like, you know, while this team has definitely been improved offensively, this was not their best week offensively either. Even against the Rockies. The Rockies were a bad enough team that they were able to get by, right? But it was a struggle. It was a struggle for sure. But I'll tell you what, I mentioned like tough teams or tough times don't last, tough teams do. This is something that last year's team or the 2024 team or the 2023 team, they would not be able to survive this. I think there's some fight in this clubhouse. They have guys in this clubhouse that can push them forward. And, you know, I'm nervous, but also excited to see how they handle the situation. That being said, let's go to Dennis Santana, Adam, because the bullpen is rough right now, and we need somebody to step up. These struggles from Santana are eerily similar to like the Bednar struggles. He's just getting hit. He's not missing bats. He's got like a 4-something K per 9. Like it's not numbers that you see from a closer. He's not, but he's also not like generating weak contact, right? Nothing's going his way. The one thing you like to see from him, and we saw it in the clubhouse, we mentioned on the live show earlier, is his attitude is A1. Like he's gonna fight, and he said, "I've been through tougher situations." And he was sitting there in the clubhouse with Henry Davis, watching every single pitch after the Friday night blown win. All right, so. That's good to see, but it's also, what do we do with him? What do we do with this pen?
Well, I mean, he came out today and he was not good.
Yeah.
Right. So like you could watch all the film you want. You could trust the process a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's put into these situations for a reason based on recent history of him being successful as a back end guy. And that's just not working right now. And for a team that needs to scratch out wins, you can't leave it up to chance. Scott, I tweeted it out earlier, but in the month of May, he has thrown 3 2/3 innings. He He has a 9.82 ERA, 9 hits, 3 doubles, 5 runs, 4 earned. One of them because a runner started on second. 1 walk. Opponent's batting average is 474. On base percentage is 500, and the slugging is 632. It's unacceptable, right? And I don't want to like put it all on Dennis right now and say like, hey, a change needs to be made. They got to trust the guy a little bit to turn it around because of the lack of arms internally. Right now, they got to find a way to get some success out of him. But I don't know if it could be in the 7th inning, the 8th inning, the 9th inning. It really comes down to where does he fit in this bullpen? And it might need to be more of a middle relief role, less stress, high leverage innings this year. Opponents are hitting 333. Low leverage isn't much better. It's 250, but the on base percentage is a little bit lower. The slugging is a little bit lower. And he's, believe it or not, throwing more low leverage innings this year. And he's been okay. But you got to rely on Soto. I know Soto had a bad game on Friday, but for the most part, he's been good. Monty gave up a home run to Schwarber, who's been on a tear, but he has been really good so far. But then it comes down to who else, Scott? Who else do you put in those situations? Let's start internally that you feel confident in.
You hope for someone to step up right now, right? And I think long-term you can look at a Bidwell or someone of that nature. And I know Bidwell didn't have the AAA numbers to start the season, but his last 2 outings have been good. And, you hope he eventually gets to a point where you can maybe throw him in more high leverage innings. But right now you got to rely on Gregory Soto, man. You got to hope that he bounces back. He's blown 2 saves this year. I think 1 against Texas and 1 this weekend. You just hope he returns to form because you're really relying on him. You're really relying on Isaac Mattson, and you're really relying on Mason Montgomery. Evan Sisk, while he's been good, is more of a middle relief guy. I'm not a guy I think I'm bringing in high leverage situations. Or you go tap into AAA and say, hey, Wilbur Dotel, you look good your last time out. Let's come on up and maybe pitch some, some higher leverage or meaningful innings for us. But again, these are guys, him and Bidwell, the younger guys, you don't want to really rely on for those high leverage innings. So it's a tough question. It's really just you gotta really hope for a bounce back from Gregory Soto.
Yeah, you're gonna have to ride with what you got right now. And we keep talking about a move being made. Alika Williams was traded this week for a low A arm from the A's.
Kyle Robinson. Yep.
Outside of that, nothing sexy is gonna happen right now. They got to score runs and they got to hope that they can hold a lead. And they need to get more out of some guys in the pitching staff. You can't keep relying on guys like Skeens to go 7-8 innings, right? Or this bullpen is going to be spent. And then you got guys like Bubba Chandler, who we spoke about a little bit this morning, but learned something new today, Scott, while I was sitting up in the press box with some of our friends. And I'll ask you the same question. What degree in change for an arm angle would you give where you say like, hey, this is not big of a deal in terms of the difference, or like it, or this is like a noticeable difference? Like, what margin of error would you give?
A 1 to 2, 3 degrees. I mean, I 1 to 2 probably more than likely, right? I mean, I think it varies, and I know where you're going with this because I had the same conversation with someone else separately. With the same person, actually separately. And, you also account for varying release points with guys that are maybe not repeating delivery as much, right? But the numbers here, I think it was 8 degrees, 8 to 9.
Yeah. So we're going from 45 arm angle, 45 degree arm angle to 54.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Bubba. We're talking about Bubba here, by the way.
Bubba Chandler. Yep. I had this conversation with Stump earlier. And typically I was like, it's not like he's nursing something, because if you're nursing something, more than likely you're dropping that arm slot. So I'm interested to hear more or learn more about what is causing him to raise the arm slot.
Let me ask you this, because he's also dropping back on that back leg a little bit more and collapsing on that back side. Do you think that's more to just try and get a little bit extra on that fastball when he finds himself in a hole?
100%. He's really pushing off at that backside, and I think that just proves the point. And that someone commented this on our live earlier, that he's becoming more of a thrower than a pitcher right now, or he's not becoming, he is. And I think he could slow it down a little bit, man. I think easier said than done, but pitch to more contact. Try to generate weak contact, some ground balls. He doesn't need to throw it by everybody. He's just moving quickly, and I think you could do something with the pace that he works at on the mound. But I don't know. This is a big challenge here for Bill Murphy, because Bubba Chandler is really important to this organization.
He is, and I still feel confident in this stuff, but just becoming so reliant, almost 60% or over on that four seam is going to kill you, especially with a lineup like this. We said it before going into Saturday's game. You can't miss against these guys like Harper and Schwarber. This lineup is going to tear you apart if you miss, and you got to be able to execute the changeup and the slider for strikes and get ahead in counts. And then, you could pump 98 to 101 at the top of the zone, but that only goes so far if you're just continuing to go to it. And I don't know where that falls, Scott, because he's going to it so often, but the catchers are calling the game. Are they really just not that confident that he can execute any other pitch? That's also an issue that you got to think about. They're calling the game. They're calling four-seam fastballs a majority of the time, and it's not working. But do they just not have the trust that he can execute a changeup for a strike or get whiffs on a slider? I think the answer is no.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get him to establish a fastball, man, but he's not commanding it right now. And with that, he's not going to get many swings and misses on his other pitches, which are all gross. He needs to establish a fastball early, and he hasn't been. That's just been the story for Bubba early on this season.
By the way, this episode is brought to you by Brave Bean Coffee Company. We had a live show there this morning. We'll have a live show every Sunday home game at 11 a.m. right before the game, where you can come by and ask your questions. Great coffee, great company, best place to be on the North Shore. Get caffeinated before watching the Buccos play. This episode is also brought to you by Smashed Waffles in Oakland. Scott, the Bucco Bantr waffle is everything you want and more for a nice little sweet breakfast. You can go to Oakland and go to Smash Waffles, mention the Bucco Bantr home run of the week, and you get 20% off your entire order. Anything else to mention, or do we just flush this series, man? Because I really want to flush it.
I say we flush it, man, because not much to talk about that's positive here. It's over and done with. Got swept. Now it's on to St. Louis. So let's go into the St. Louis series.
Why don't you get us kicked off?
Yeah, the Cardinals are entering this series. We both have tomorrow off, so we're starting on Tuesday. They're entering 27-19, third in NL Central. Still winning some ball games in St. Louis, right? Tuesday, we've got Mitch Keller going against Matthew Liberatore, a lefty. So far this year, Matthew Liberatore is 2-2 with a 4.40 ERA. He also has, in 9 games started, 47 innings pitched, 34 Ks, 1.51 whip. Big arsenal here. Four-seam slider, change, curve, sinker, cutter, split. Throws the kitchen sink at you. He'll try to establish that elevated four-seamers early to set up the slider. Right-handed batters, we'll see a lot of back foot sliders, change up. Once he gets to 2 strikes or ahead in a count, he'll work inside aggressively, especially versus righties trying to crowd the plate. Tempo can slow when traffic builds. That's when command leaks arm side. This guy is not going to overpower you, right? But I think he's someone that, I hate to start the series against a lefty because these lineups have been all over the place. But we'll see what that corresponding move is before Tuesday's game, because that lineup could look different.
All the more reason to bring up his Merlin.
I know, right?
You need a strong righty bat. Let's go, Valdez. Wednesday, you got Carmen versus Michael McGreevy. This year, McGreevy is 3-2 with a 2.10 ERA in 9 games, 51 in the third pitch, 36 Ks with a .88 whip. The arsenal, a lot here. Four-seam, change, sinker, sweeper, curve, cutter, slider. One of the better command and contact management starters in the NL early this year. Heavy sinker usage, Scott, to right-handed batters trying to jam and induce rollover contact. More four-seam changeup curve sequencing to lefties. Comfortable pitching to contact with runners on. Won't nibble. So I say it every week with guys like this. It could be a struggle.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the game I'm most nervous about. I think McGreevy's got off to a hot start, and he's someone that we could definitely struggle with. But let's go to Thursday, last game, Braxton Ashcraft versus Dustin May. We faced Dustin May on the 27th of April. He went 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks, one of his better starts in the first month of the season. So far, he's 3-4 with a 4.81 ERA, 35 Ks, and a 1.42 whip. He throws a four-seam, cutter, sweeper, sinker, curve, change, long levered high extension delivery that creates a tough angle and perceived velocity. Injury history is extensive, which still impacts durability and projection. Elite fastball sinker combo with unique movement profile, generates ground balls and weak contact at his best. Since his last time, I was looking at the arsenal between April 27th and now. He's had more success since then, too. He's begun throwing the cutter more, maybe trying to get guys jammed in on the hands. So something to watch for come Thursday. But hopefully, Adam, when we get to Thursday, we're talking about a series sweep in St. Louis.
By the way, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, you can get all these pitching matchups for the series ahead, broken down, sent right to your inbox. All you have to do is go to buccobantr.com, put in your email, hit send, go to your email, opt in, and you'll get a newsletter before every single series. Also, you'll be up to date on all the episodes that are dropping. We'll have a minor league episode down on the farm coming out Tuesday morning. And then Wednesday, Bench Banter is back with Nick Gonzalez. Scott, we had a really good conversation with Nicky G. Gonzo this week. He stays hot, man. He's hitting above 320 right now. Not a lot of slug there, but he's just finding ways to put the ball in play in big situations. And we broke all that down with him and more. That was really, really, really interesting conversation and learned a lot about the development and the swing adjustments with Nick Gonzalez. I know he's one of our favorite guys to talk to when it comes down to really breaking down the mechanics.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one to drop. That was a fun conversation. Nick G's the man, and he's been Mr. Consistent, if not anything. He's a guy that needs to be playing every day. Adam, before we go, let's go players of the week. I'll get us kicked off here. This was a tough one, like I said earlier, to pick out. I'll go pitcher of the week. Not a starter. It would have been Skeens. Today he got hit a little bit, but I want to highlight a reliever, a guy that's been pitching really well. Evan Sisk is our pitcher of the week. 4 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. In a pen that's struggling, he's been a bright spot, and I just want to give him his flowers, man. He's been killing it.
And then Spencer Horwitz is the hitter of the week. Brandon Lau could have been it. The average wasn't there. The slug was. Almost had one today. Fan interference, just short. That wall was 20 feet instead of 21. That ball gets over. But Spencer Horwitz is the hitter of the week. 6 for 17, 353 average, 1 double, 1 walk, 1 stolen bag for Spence. Bad series, bad weekend. You know, they handled business against the Rockies. You had that one bad game, and then things seem to be going your way, and then Philadelphia rolls into town, and credit where credit's due. They came back in game one and just, you know, they are bad guys. I'll give you that. But a lot of good videos, Scott, coming out this week from our weekend at the park. Really excited to get those edited and out to the public. But we will be covering you for the St. Louis series, and then we'll be up in Toronto at the Rogers Center to cover this team. Love going to Canada, Toronto. It's awesome. Great experience every single time. We hope to bring you a ton of content there, maybe some interviews. We'll see. It could be a rough couple weeks, Scott. They got to really dig deep here. This is the part of the baseball season where things don't seem to be going your way and you can't dig your hole too deep. These times are inevitable. You're going to go through some losing streaks, but you can't let it just last longer than it needs to be. And that's exactly what they need to do here. They need to make up for some lost time, play a little bit better baseball, and just get it together. I don't know what else to say. You got to keep grinding, man.
Yep. Like I said before, man, this is going to be a real test to test the toughness of this team. And I have some hope in that department just because of the guys in the clubhouse. I think this is a tight-knit group, a group that really wants to win. And we're going to see this week how they respond, right? So let's go, man. I'm excited for Canada. I'm excited to get to Toronto, watch some games at the Rogers Center, get a maple bacon hot dog. And that is an electric atmosphere. Go check out we're going to have a post-game show at the Doc Ellis Bar in Toronto. So definitely, if you're up there, make it a trip. I heard from multiple people today in the ballpark that they're going to come stop by, that they'll be there. So excited for that. But other than that, man, big week ahead of us.
Yeah, we'll have the Bucco Bantr postgame show. We'll have the Sacks cast. I've heard the same thing. A lot of people going up to Toronto. They're going to stop by after, have a good time, win or lose. We're going to have a blast at the Doc Ellis bar. So till next time, hoist it.
Hoist it.
Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates or the steak by the plates.